Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Colony Pit, where we catch up with our old friends and alumni. And on today's episode, it's a special one. It's one that's been in the works for 50 years. Yes, you heard me right. It's been in the work for 50 years. It's one of our good friends and co-hosts, Rex Carrano's 50th birthday. Happy birthday, Rex.
Thank you. 5-0.
Happy birthday.
And actually, on today's show, we have a special guest host who's going to help me chip away at the 50 years of Rex's life. This is the great Chuck Dukes. Chuck, how are you this this afternoon?
I'm doing great. I'm doing really good.
Awesome. So we just want to kick this off like we do. So we'll start it off at old Colony Pit style to say, Rex, where, if you can, just let everyone know, where are you right now? And then after that, we'll do our old classic Pope style pitch and then we get back to the beginning. So I'll turn over to you. So let everyone know, where are you right now at this point?
Yeah, right now I live in Lancaster, New York, suburb of Buffalo. Been here since 2007. That's when I moved out of Colonie, way back in 2007. So what's that, about roughly 18 years I've been out in Western New York. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
Awesome. Now let's go back to the very beginning, and that's going to be 50 years ago. And actually,
50 years ago, beginning.
50
Okay.
years ago, Bill. And so we'll have to go way back when to start this off. So let's start off at the beginning. But before we do, I was just doing some research with our crack interns that we hired here. And it says when turning 50 is often seen as a transition point where individuals reassess their goals, evaluate their achievements, and embark on a new phase of life. It could be a time of self-discovery, personal growth, and new beginnings. This is what they said about 50. So based on that, I think the way we can actually dive into all that is we need to start back at day one. So why don't we head back to day one?
All right. June 27th, 1975, Bellevue Hospital in Schenectady, New York. That's where it all went down. Yep. Mike and Annette Carrano brought in Patrick Ryan Carrano, technically.
Well, you were born at like one of the most famous hospitals in this.
Yeah. My birth
Where
certificate.
babies were born.
Yeah, my birth certificate says Schenectady though. I always thought it was Niskayuna, but my birth certificate says Schenectady. So anyway, that's where it started. Yeah.
And a lot of us were born in Bellevue. I allow myself.
Oh, really?
No kidding.
And then we took different paths from there now, didn't we?
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Yes.
Oh, no kidding. That's good to know.
I don't know if you know, John, because Bellevue Hospital back in the day was basically known for childbirth.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't really like a typical hospital. We talk about now surgeries and floors and like that. Bellevue was known for, it had maternity, like almost the whole building was like that. So there's a lot of people within that area, the Niskayuna, we'll say the Colonies, Schenectady, they were born in Bellevue Hospital.
Oh, good. Actually, I didn't know that. I'm from St. Peter's down in Albany, so that's where I entered this glorious life. So you leave Niskayuna Hospital, and then you're now in Burnt Hills, which it's one of those things. I know we talked about this on several episodes, and it's always something that I just remember too. Growing up, going through the Colonie system, and that you were there, and obviously with your dad there, I was like, oh, I was like, where the Rex show up all of a sudden? So take us through your Burnt Hills era.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't realize I didn't go to Colonie until high school. I was in Burnt Hills, New York. We lived right on the border of Burnt Hills and Scotia. So I was about as far away from Burnt Hills High School as possible. I had a Scotia mailing address, but we were in the Burnt Hills School District. It was one of those deals. Burnt Hills is a smaller town. It was okay. Not a whole lot going on in Burnt Hills. So I went through there. Probably still isn't a whole lot going on in Burnt Hills. I don't know. So I lived there through 8th grade. Yeah, we moved to Colonie right after 8th grade. Everything was going well at Burnt Hills. then middle school, things got a little rocky, and my dad was kind of tired of making the commute every day from Burnt Hills into Colony. And some other things were kind of up in the air too. And then
When you say Rocky, like, were you like being like Mr. Rocky? Like, were you like swinging? What was going
no,
on?
no,
Like,
no,
what was Rocky? Come on, I mean,
just
you
just
don't just
socially.
get up and just leave for no reason.
Yeah, no, socially, I wasn't really fitting in that well. Basketball was a little kind of rocky at that point for me. And my parents just wanted to get out of Burnt Hills in general, to be honest with you. So they started talking when I was in 7th grade about possibly sending me some other school or moving, just getting out and moving. So Colony was kind of always the front runner, just because my dad taught there and stuff. But there was a few other options kind of floating around. So the options were either we were gonna stay in Burnt Hills, and then my dad was just gonna pay the tuition to send me to Colony, and I would just ride into work every day with him, which that would have been a long commute. The second option was just moving to Colony, which is what we ultimately did. There was also some thought about going to Clifton Park and moving to Shen. We looked at a few houses in Shen, but that never materialized. Because I did play 8th grade basketball up in Shen my 8th grade year. I was going to school in Burnt Hills, but I played up in for a Clifton Park team then. And then the last idea, which never really got any traction, but it was talked about, was staying in Burnt Hills but going to CBA, which that would have been also another long commute for me, because at that point CBA was in the city of Albany. It wasn't in Colony, so I would have been even longer, but that never really had a whole lot of meat to it. So Colony was always kind of the front runner. And so yeah, like literally a few days after finishing 8th grade, I think we moved right on my birthday. Actually, we moved on my birthday, whatever age I was, 13, 14, right after
wow.
8th grade. And we moved to Colony, and my parents built dog in the house. Oh, okay. My parents built a home. Not built. They bought a brand new house right near the intersection of Osborne and Sand Creek. It was a brand new neighborhood. They ended up buying the model home, or the spec home, I guess you could say. It was move-in ready. It was the smallest house on the street by far. Not tiny, but not huge. Probably like 1,500 square feet, maybe.
There's only 3 of you. Jeez.
It's like 3 of us. That's all we
What
needed.
you need? What you need?
We didn't need much.
Right.
Chuck tried to move a few times, but that was vetoed real quick by my dad because we had an extra room.
He wanted his Rex studio. That was the problem. He wanted an extra room to have his Rex studio.
Yeah, I have my turntables.
We'll get into that. Yeah, that's what it was.
So yeah, we moved right in the summer going into 9th grade. I knew people who went to Colony, but I can't say I really knew people, if you knew what I mean. I had no idea where anyone lived. I didn't have anyone's phone number. So that summer was kind of, I don't know. I didn't do much. I did 3 things that summer, actually. I remember. I went to Sand Creek Middle School. I would ride my bike there because they had open gym, and I would just put up shots and play. Guys like Tony Valeni, Dennis Doherty, Chris Hallen, they were like working the parks there. They were hanging out. Or I would go to West Albany Pocket Park. I figured out where that was, so I would ride my bike there. And I would usually play there at night until like the sun went down, literally. And then if I wasn't doing that, my dad had me doing what was called Rock Patrol, which sucked. Because we built a brand new home. It was brand new land. We had no grass. And my dad was big into the whole, the lawn and making it green. But we couldn't plant grass because the land had so many rocks in it. There was like literally thousands and thousands of rocks in this land. So my dad would give me a hand shovel in one of those orange Home Depot buckets. And he would be like, go on Rock Patrol. And my job was to literally get on my knees and scoop up these rocks. Some of these rocks would be huge. Some of them would be little pebbles. My dad wanted no rocks in the land. So I would do just about anything to just be away and not have to do rock patrol. If I went to that land right now, there's still rocks in there. It's never going to stop. But yeah, I played basketball and I did rock patrol my first summer.
So you know something, that's a good segue. I was going to say, let's go back there too. Like growing up, did you play t-ball? What was the sports that you did? Because again, back when we were growing up, you usually got up and your parents kicked you out of the house. You had to go play, jump on your bike, go to your friends, whatever it was. So what were you playing back then, growing up?
You talking about like back in Burnt Hills? When
Yeah. Growing up as you're growing up there, what were you into then?
I was, we were playing Foursquare in the street, playing kickball in the street, riding my bike around. I don't know. We did have a hoop in our driveway, like when by the time I was in like 5th grade or something. So really, I would just shoot baskets all day. There wasn't tons of kids in my neighborhood, so that's kind of what I did.
Well, when did you guys have your ciphers?
There was
Like
no
your
ciphers
beatbox.
back then.
There was no cipher. There wasn't.
No, I was into the beatbox back then, though. Yeah,
Right, that's what I'm saying. So I know you have some Burnt Hill ciphers.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
No.
Like you and the kids on the block. You guys were.
No, I was the only. Yeah, no, there was definitely no ciphers in Burnt Hills. Pretty sure there was no ciphers in Colonie either, from what I remember.
No ciphers in Colonie.
Not too many of them. There was maybe some kids that thought they could, but
no. You gotta explain to them what a cipher is if they don't know.
Well, cipher is just when a group of people kind of get around, they start freestyle, rapping, beatboxing, all that kind of stuff. The hip hop thing started probably 6th, 7th grade. I started getting into hip hop. I heard the Fat Boys. That was my first thing. And then I heard the beatbox Buff. His name was from the Fat Boys. Yeah. So I heard that and I was hooked right from then. And I would just walk around the house beatboxing nonstop. And then I got into Dougie Fresh and then Biz Markie. So anyone who beatboxed was kind of like my idol. And I was one of the very few kids in Burnt Hills. There was like maybe 4 of us that liked hip hop. And it was like Fat Boys, Dougie Fresh, Run DMC, Public Enemy, anyone from that era, EPMD, etc.
So something, Rex? So I was looking this up because I knew this was going to segue perfectly. And back then, and so I was just looking up here too. So they had old school rap, new school rap, and then they had what they call the golden age from 1986 to 1990 with Public Enemy, KRS-One, Boogie Down, who was it, Eric B. and Rakim. So then, but even then, so did you see the movie Breakin'? Because I said, if there's hip hop, next question is, did you break dance? That's going to be the next question.
Definitely did not break dance. No, I had 0 break dancing skills. The extent of my hip hop skills, if you want to call it that, was strictly beatbox. I couldn't rap. I couldn't break dance. I liked it, but no, I wasn't doing any backspins.
All right. So I was actually looking up here too, and I didn't realize this. So this is going back of the days of the 8-track, and I know we all probably had an 8-track in our house or someplace there. But you guys remember the Sugar Hill Gang with what they recorded at Rappers Light, and that was in 1979. I didn't realize it was that old, but that's how far back that goes.
Oh yeah, wow, you're right too.
And then there's Grandmaster's Flash. Was in 1981. So you kind of look at hip hop, and it starts way back again in the late 70s, and it's coming through. So I was going to say, so how did you actually get into hip hop? I mean, is that something that, because I remember growing up as a kid, my mom would have on like Tom Jones or something just on the 8-track playing in the house, and that's all that was going on. So how does hip hop, get into your household, or how did you hear about it?
There's some kids from Burnt Hills listening to it. They had the Fat Boys tape, and that's where I heard it. And then, funny enough, I actually remember this because, Burnt Hills was listening to Fly 92 for the most part. I mean, which back then there wasn't really any hip hop on Fly 92.
88.3 on the weekends, I think. Sienna. That might have been.
Yeah, that's where I was going with the 88.3. Is I remember one time
Summer nights.
we went to a track meet at Colonie, I think, or something at Colonie, and my dad ended up giving Chad and Chuck a ride home, and we had the radio on, and one of you turned on 88.3, and I didn't even know it existed at that point. And I was like, "What is this? This is wonderful." kind of like, where has this been my whole life? But then when I got home to Burnt Hills, that was the first thing I did. We had the manual dial. It
Yep.
was so
Yeah. Yeah.
difficult. You had to get it. But Burnt Hills was too far away from Siena. So like it was one of those deals where I could kind of hear it. I had to like turn the boombox just the right way, had to get the antenna. And it was so frustrating for me because I could kind of hear it, kind of couldn't. And then it wasn't always on all day either back then. It was like you had to hit it right, like 6 to 9 maybe, and then randomly on a weekend it might 88.3 might be on or 90.9. It was kind of sporadic, but when I moved to Colonie, I was in heaven because I was like, oh, I'm right near Siena or SUNY Albany, whatever,
Right.
and I had perfect reception, and that's all I listened to when it was on. And I have to say, it was really good hip hop. It was like legit mixes with real DJs, and you don't get that too much anymore.
Well, listen. I don't know if you all know, but Rex, you are a pretty good basketball player, and part of that is you have a pretty good handle.
Yeah.
Was that why you were a good like scratching type DJ? I knew you used to do a little bit of mixing,
Yeah.
and you have to use right and left hands. Like you can't just be a
Right.
good DJ and you can't. Yeah, there you go. See, that's what I'm talking about. Did that
Yeah.
help you out in your basketball skills, or vice versa?
No, because the DJ thing didn't really start until college, and I'll be honest, I was kind of just a wannabe DJ. I was not a legit DJ. I'd never had like the real equipment. I would have like one good turntable with one horrible turntable. No, I had like the basic mixer. I was not a legit DJ, although I was a wannabe DJ. So I'm sure
But the ability to use both hands is good. That was
it did. I had a good handle, so yes, I'm
yeah,
pretty much
right, left hand,
ambidextrous,
right.
and
I can see that. I can see
yeah,
it.
yeah. So it definitely helped. But the DJ thing didn't start until college. The beatbox thing, that was literally like 6th grade and never really stopped.
Wow. So really, the DJ was that far out? Really? I
Yeah,
didn't.
I didn't mess. I always wanted to be a DJ, but I didn't. There was another kid in our high school, John remembers, Jason Panucci. He was really the real DJ of the school. He had like the real turntables. He had the real mixtapes. He was legit. So shout out to Mr. JP, Jason Panucci.
Nice. So
Yeah,
so now we're up there. So 86, we'll jump to 90. So I'll keep us on this timeline. So in 1990, Public Enemy released one of their albums there, Fear of the Black Planet. And then after that, in also 90, was our favorite friend, Tone Loc, with his song Wild Thing that came out, was out there. And then came up my main man, MC Hammer, came out during that time. So the question is, did you own MC Hammer pants? Yes or no? And I can tell right now if you're lying.
Yeah, no, I did not. I never. Yeah, no, I definitely did not own the pants, but I had the tape, no doubt. I had not the. I might have had the "You Can't Touch This" tape. I don't know, but the tape before, the album before, I think it was called "Let's Get It Started." MC Hammer. It was the one with "Turn This Mother Out."
Mm-hmm.
That was before he kind of went really mainstream. I definitely had that tape. Yes.
Nice.
in the '90s, were you down here in the '90s?
What do you mean?
Like,
down?
no, I mean, were you living in Colony in the '90s, right?
Yeah, because my freshman year was Chad's senior year, so it was like
89,
89,
90.
Yeah.
89,
90. In 89, I think.
Well, okay, so you come from Burnt Hills and then you come down, and then I see like you on the screen here, obviously, which your name it says Patrick Rex Carrano.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now, how'd you get into yeah, the Rex Carrano? Like because you came down as Patrick Carrano.
Yeah, I know.
And then all of a sudden, you turn into Rex Carrano. Like,
yeah. Well,
yeah,
this is where the debate starts in the whole episode. I can see where he's going with this.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Because
we're not
someone might
arguing
not
my
know you
birthday.
as Patrick Carrano. They may know you. I mean, once you hit Colony, it was Rex. From there on in.
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah, Rex
So was it
started.
DJ Rex?
No, that was never not DJ Rex. In college, it might have been, but not in
It
high
might
school.
be,
No. So I would say 6th, 7th grade, there was a basketball player named Rex Chapman. He was really good. He was playing for Kentucky. He was a white boy, high flyer, good shooter. Pretty much his style of play was completely different than mine. but he was a white kid with black hair. He kind of had spiked like I did. And a guy named David Gamble said, you look like Rex. He started calling me Rex. Chuck is going to say he's the one who gave me the name, but it was
Absolutely.
DG that gave me the name.
Yes.
Chuck made it popular. I'll say that. And then when I came to Colonie, Chuck would call me Rex. All the other people heard it. And then Rex just never really stopped from there. So that's my story. Next question.
Chuck,
That's
true or false? Is that true or false?
False. Absolutely. Okay. The sad part is I don't remember, but I think I really had something to do with that name, Rex.
I do. I agree. You made it popular, I will say, but the originator of the name was DG saying we're talking about Rex Chapman. He's like, you look like Rex, and it just took off from there.
Yeah, but it was in the mug. It was a new gym. I remember it was on the left hand side. It was, and I didn't start that.
You didn't start it. You might have been there, but he came up with the idea of Rex, and then you took it from there. But yeah, then Rex has evolved to Rex, Rexter, Rex the Flex, Rex this, Rex, but Rex, yeah. Here we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
50 years ago. You remember, right? You remember now, right? It's 50 years. You remember who you sure you know? Because all black guys look the same. We all look the same.
My memory is pretty good. Everyone who knows me knows.
Are you sure you know what black guy you met in the gym that day? Do you understand?
What black guys did I meet in the gym?
Which black guy was it that day in the gym? Was it me or was it David?
It was Dave.
Chuck, he even gave him a chance to change history there, and he said he wouldn't go for it. Yeah. All right. So now that we have this is
Chuck,
a great.
I think my memory is better than your memory. Would you agree?
It might be. Yes, you're right.
That might be. It is. Yeah. There's no doubt in my mind.
But this is a little perfect segue. So now we're in there the 90s where it's getting real. But now we have East Coast versus West Coast in hip hop. So I'm going to say right now, Rex, here's a red line. What side are we on? East Coast, West Coast?
Oh, I was purely an East Coast guy. Yeah, I never crossed over. I was East Coast all the way.
B.I.G.
No doubt. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was into that New York City sound. I wasn't, not that I didn't like the West Coast stuff, but I never really got into it too much. Yeah. All the stuff I bought from Record Town and Colonie Center was strictly East Coast. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, Record Town.
Where'd you get the money? Where'd you get all the money from?
Well,
And what did the folks think about bringing you to Record Town? Like we were all going to Herman Sporting Goods buying sneakers and stuff like that.
Yeah. I did that too.
And you did that too, but you went to Record Town. No, well, I can't say that. There was the Record Town was the spot back then.
Yeah, Record Town. Yeah, it had a little hip hop section in the back.
I was just getting ready to say they did not have a huge hip hop section. It was like one row of records. That was it. Yes.
Yeah. So I was buying records, literally records and tapes back then. I kind of mixed it up. The CDs weren't out yet when I was in 9th grade, and I either went to Record Town and Colonie Center or Strawberries on Central Ave.
Yeah.
And that's where I would get my hip hop. But then, back then we were also like just recording a lot off the radio, the Memorex tapes. So like when 88.3 or 90.9 would have mixes, I would just record them and just play them over and over again. And I would have literally like a bag full of 20 Memorex tapes, 20, 30 Memorex tapes just filled with hip hop off the radio for free.
Well, I remember going to your room one day upstairs in your house, and you had like, I think it's called a makeshift, because you had your radio, like the record player.
Yep.
You had the record player, and I don't know if you had a mixer back then. I don't think
probably not. No.
Yeah, you probably had a mixer, but I remember you were like, "Yo, this is where you listen to your music. This is where you did your scratching."
Yep.
Now, were you a right-handed scratcher or a left-handed scratcher?
Oh, left. Yeah.
You lefty? Gotcha.
Yeah, left. Okay. Turntable left. Yeah.
Look. He still got it. Look, he's like.
That was good technique too. Very good.
It was.
So let's go here now. So you walk through the doors of Colonie, and you see all these people from Loishikill and Sand Creek coming together. What was your first impression of like, man, what did I get myself into?
Yeah. Well, first of all, the whole Leishikill versus Sand Creek thing, that meant nothing to me. I could have cared less. I didn't even really understand it. To me, it was like, I'm just new. I don't know who anyone is. And Leishkill versus Sand Creek, I know everyone kind of is identified initially when they walk into ninth grade by that. But for me, I was like, I don't know. I don't care. I don't know any of you. So I wouldn't say I didn't know anyone, but I knew kids who played basketball. That's pretty much all I knew. Maybe a few football players here or there. The summer going into ninth grade, I did play in some summer leagues with some Colonie teams, so I kind of knew the kids that I played with. But like during those summer leagues, I would play, and I would go home. I would have no more communication with them afterwards. So really, like I knew Matt Richardson. He and I played against each other growing up, but did I know him? Not really, but I knew him enough to say hi. Like the Eric Brown, Brian Gerards, Art Eastman, they would play on our summer league teams, but I really didn't know them that well at all. So that first day, and I think we talked a little bit about this on Chuck's show. I remember being in homeroom and going from Burnt Hills Middle School, which is small, to Colonie High was like, whoa. Like Burnt Hills, you're talking 99.5% white, to Colonie, which wasn't crazy diverse, but maybe 15 to 20% minority, I would say. And just way more people in general. I probably went from a school of 500 to now 1,600. I remember walking out of homeroom and just the buzzer thing beeping, walking out, and the halls just like jailbreak. And I had never experienced anything like that. And I remember like freezing, and I remember like someone bumped into me. I was like, oh, I got to get my stuff together here. And I remember getting to my first class, and I sat next to Art Eastman in biology with Miss Mulick. And I remember the seat and everything. And, I remember I ate alone my first 2 days at lunch. I ate alone because I didn't have anyone to eat with. And eventually, there were some kids I ate with. And, it was just like a lot of stuff being flown at me. I kind of felt like word started getting around about who I was. Oh, this is the new kid. He plays hoop. His dad is Mr. Carrano. So I feel like a lot of people kind of, word was getting around, knew who I was, but I didn't know who anyone was. So people were like saying hi to me, and I was like, oh, hey, how you doing? I didn't know anything. So that was a whirlwind. Really, the only person that I felt like I really knew in the school was Chuck's brother, Chad, because I had known him for a few years. And I remember like my first day, I saw him like in the hallway. He was just kind of like hanging out at the top of the stairs there, the main staircase. And I remember just like going right up to him and like clinging to him, like, hey, how you doing? And I was so excited to just know somebody. And I just like looking at it. I wish someone like took a picture of that because it had to look hilarious. And the rest of the school year, during like a certain couple periods, I would hang out with Chad at the top of the staircase. You guys know what I'm talking about. Like, you look down. That was kind of like the spot. And, everyone would come by and talk to us and girls. And really, they were talking to him. But I kind of felt important because I happened to be standing next to him. And I met a lot of people just by standing next to Chad Duke. So that was kind of cool. But I was meeting people very rapidly right through 12th grade, So, yeah, that was pretty cool.
So on that note, I was going to say, Chuck, if you can, just hold on to that thought for 1 second. So on that note, we're just coming up on time. I was going to say, if you guys both have time, we can click on to, we'll bring up this conversation back. But on that note, we'll just end it right here. And then we'll pick up. And I know where I'm going to pick this up. Chad, with Pat clung to him, kind of like, like a monkey on his back, just holding on for dear life. And we'll pick it up from there. So again, for those listening, we'll come back with another episode of Rex's 50th birthday. So stay tuned, and we'll hear you guys, or just tune in for the next episode, and we'll pick up from where we left off. Bye.